with the Marietta County Board of Commissioners Work Session for March 25th, 2025, 4 p.m. Please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. First item is to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Agenda is adopted. So first item on the new business is county projects and needs for 2025.
Commissioners, we're just having this work session to figure out what the county projects and needs are for 2025 and get direction for staff moving into the rest of 2025. What we need to accomplish, what we like to see accomplished, and what needs we have. Our Public Works Director, Brian, will be here because he's got paving experience and he brought an idea to me and I want to present it to the board.
Is he coming?
I asked him to be here. I'm not sure if he is or not. We'll try to get him to be here in attendance.
He started work already?
Yes, sir. He started yesterday. He may be out on the road. They're coming in.
Here he comes.
There he is right there.
Hey,
How you doing?
just all around it, dude.
Yeah, just a few minutes. Commissioner, this is Brian Griffin, our new Public Works Director.
Hey, Brian.
John,
How you doing?
Worsley, Worsley. Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
That's me.
And I know roads and dirt roads, paved roads is one of our biggest needs in the county. And Brian comes from Harris County where he's got extensive knowledge in roads, which I think would be a great benefit to Marietta County. He's got some great ideas. He's ran by me yesterday and I asked him if he would share them with the board. They say he does have in-house patching experience and he does. I'll let him speak on that part because he instituted something at Harris County and I think we can benefit here and we can actually use investment funds to pay for this project that Brian wants to try to bring to Marietta County.
Yeah, so obviously road paving is super expensive. Y'all know that anytime a contractor comes in, it's hitting for $1 million for 2.5 miles of road. We did the work in-house, we could cut it in a third, and we can do 9 miles to every 3 miles that they can do. We worked out a deal with Caterpillar on the lease, to lease all the equipment, because it is over $1 million worth of equipment on a 5-year lease. It came out like $208,000 a year for 5 years with, you got a $1 buyout at the end of the 5-year lease. To keep it, it's $1, or you can trade it in on and release, going forward. So your initial investment wouldn't be the $200,000 to get into the paving business. We would need some support staff, extra people that are knowledgeable, and those people are not going to be hard to find.
It will not be hard to find.
No, sir.
Are they expensive?
Not astronomical, but above entry level.
Well, I understand good help's not cheap and cheap help's not good. So, I mean, I get it, but
No, so, and these guys are, that are on my mind are county guys. Some of them followed me from Fayette to Coweta, and some of them followed me from Coweta to Harris, and some are wanting to follow me from Harris to Marietta. Experienced guys, ready to come to work. And it gives us 3, 4, 5 guys on the ground that can train the rest of the staff. And for my couple of days here, we have a knowledgeable staff. I don't think it's going to be hard to train them. Coweta County, we used inmate labor force. So we had 3 guys that would be certified officers and 12 inmates. And that's how we ran a paving crew. We were paving 30 miles a year in-house. And with inmates, you might have one 2 weeks, you might have one a year. So it was a constant training, constantly training. Whereas here, you hope your staff's gonna stay together, and once they're trained, it's only gonna increase productivity and decrease inefficiencies.
so is this something y'all gonna put this presentation together?
Yes, sir,
and
it
Come
is.
back to another
Yeah.
meeting? Okay.
I just want to see if it's, he asked me if it's something I'd be interested in. I told him yes. I believe the board would be too.
I think so. I don't see why not. I
Because
mean,
it deals with roads, dirt roads, paved roads.
We are in desperate need of some road repairs in Meriwether County.
Yeah.
And they are super expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as we get the extra staff, you know, and we're not taking away from other things, because
Sure. Like I said, we would have to add a few, not very many positions. And I have a good relationship with Warden Jenkins at Harris County. And a couple of the guys that I'm interested in bringing on board are certified officers already. I believe we could facilitate picking up a few inmates along the way to help the labor shortage. I don't think that would be a problem.
So we would just need a presentation of what you want to do,
Correct.
how much, road we could cover versus the that
cost
cost
and-
versus the,
Yeah.
about bidding process. And then what the labor impact would be, number of positions, and then cost per position. We need all of that.
Yes.
So we don't have to ask all those questions when we get there.
Yeah, we'll put something together, like I told you, I'm intrigued by it, I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
board will be
No.
too, and I told them just to mention it, we can, definitely, that's a need, maybe not in 25, at least kind of kickstart it, at the end of the year to get it going in the 26.
If you get the presentation, laid out that way, we're clearly explaining what we want to do, how we want to go about doing it, the savings there, and then what the cost impact is, timeline to get that. It's something that we could probably get approved in one meeting, if not table for more discussion, 2 meetings, we'll be done in 30 days, so.
Yeah, and I can ask our auditors if T-Splosh will help fund any of the leasing program, because it's actually going strictly to the road. So that's an auditor question that I can't really say. I would believe so, but I don't know if you can use T-Splosh for debt payments, but I have to check on that and see.
I'm pretty sure we can use some of the LRA and the LMIC money for purchasing asphalt, tack, and supplying trucking. I don't know that you use all of it for that, because you have to have some coming from outside contractors, but your lease trucking would be that outside contractor for a big portion of it, so you may be able to use some of your element money towards that as well.
But we'll get a presentation together. All right? I told him it piqued my interest, and I'm pretty sure it would pique the board's interest too.
Well, I mean, we've got 200 miles of paved road, and we're getting 1 to 3 miles a year done. So how many years does that take us to get it done?
I can
So-
tell you-
Crazy time.
In 10 years, we can do it.
With the proper equipment, we can do 10 miles a year for $1 million in-house.
Yeah.
That would be your average. $1 million for 10 miles, I mean, each year, of course, the price would go up, because it does. But that's a really realistic goal, is 10 miles a year. Now, we wouldn't be C.W. Matthews if we did this. We're not talking about buying $1 million milling machine and all that. We're gonna be turning dirt roads to paved roads, overlays, patching pipe crossings, pothole patching. I don't want anybody to think we're gonna be paving interstates by any means.
Right.
That's not what we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah. So county roads, yes.
Okay.
So we get that presentation together in the next couple of months and bring it to the board.
Yeah,
So today, because we can budget it for FY26.
So while we're on that though, I mean, that's a huge concern for this board is the condition of the roads. I mean, we've been trying to find the best way, the best roads to attack with the money that we have. The entire staff's done a good job of managing money. We've got surplus, we've got investment money. So we're sitting in a prime time to be able to do some of these things. So this is a top 3 project, in my opinion, for this board. I don't want to speak for everybody, but that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna speak to everybody, but
Yeah.
we're way behind.
And then the dirt roads would be in the top 3 also, getting them up, par, the ditches clean, grounds back on the road, the gravel on, the culverts cleaned out, everything. So,
We have 4 motor graders now and 3.5 operators now. They're going together in packs, so, I mean, strategically, we're gonna make some changes on,
Yeah, we ought to be able to get over this whole county easy with 4 motor graders.
we're gonna split it in half and have 2 on each end, the north and the south, and come up with a route book so that they're actually going down in a route instead of jumping from Luthersville to Gage to the.
That's right.
Manchester, driving 2 hours to straight road, just turn around, driving 2 hours back to where they left from. It's just terrible idea, but we're gonna trying to compile a county road list with every county road in it, right of ways, paved, unpaved, so that I know where to split, where the line of split is and all that. And,
We should have that, right? I mean, that-
I think, Cassandra, you have a book of roads, do you?
I gave it to him.
She got it, and
I
then
gave it to him, gave him what right away I already.
she had a few right of ways, and I pulled the map down and seen a few extra roads that are added in along the way kind of thing that wasn't there, but
Yeah, we'll be working together on some of the roads and even some of the new private roads coming in.
Do we have, I know on our paved roads, we have like a forced ranking of the grade of the road versus the traffic that's on it?
sure.
Do we have that for the dirt road?
I don't.
And is that something you could generate, or do we need somebody else to help generate that, or?
Traffic studies, they're gonna usually come, unless you have the counters and everything that you need here, you'd have to, like an EMC or somebody would come in and put the counters in place and monitor traffic volumes and stuff like
So
that.
maybe we go by number of houses on the road or something. I just would think that the strategic layout you're talking about to get the routes is great, because that's one of the things we've been lacking. They've been running, whoever's screaming the loudest, that's where they're running to.
We can't do
There's
that.
so much waste of time in between there.
Sure.
And if we have a strategic route, and then we'll go after what's the highest volume,
Sure.
you'll get most of that screaming people at the same time.
Correct.
Usually with
But
the
I
traffic
think
count,
if it's planned out, like he's saying he's gonna do, that they'll all be done 2 or 3 times a year.
I'm hoping a little more. I mean,
Oh, a little more, so he's, okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
So I don't think we'll have to worry about which ones travel the most. They're gonna all get bladed a couple,
Yeah,
2 or
I
3
mean,
times.
a realistic number is once every 3 months for what we have. I think that's a realistic number with 2 graders.
Yeah.
And each, I think that's 4 times a year should be about where it falls.
What were you saying, Cassandra?
with the house count and traffic count dirt roads, it's usually 3.5 or 3.5 times the number of houses
Okay.
for your average traffic count.
That's good to know.
And the good thing with Brian Commissioner, he is a Meriwether County resident, so he does know the roads of Meriwether County.
All right, I'm getting half skin in the game.
So he's invested to see.
You live on a
Meriwether
dirt
County-
road?
No, they
okay.
recently paved Trammell Road, the
Okay.
front section. I live on the front section that's paved there. The rest of the road is still gravel. Actually, it's been closed for years, the backside back there, where a pipe that's been blowing out for.
Well, that's on our list just for LRA. It should be completed this year, right?
Trammell Road Bridge.
It's showing
Leave it
it's
closed.
done,
Just
right?
leave it. Leave
Trammell
it.
Road Bridge was already
Yes.
bid and
Yeah.
awarded.
It's
Yes.
checked off because it's in the previous LRA.
I think PPI got that.
Yes, they did. They did.
Speak of that, did a lot of y'all's contract. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, ER Snell did the last LMIG, PPI did prior to the previous several, for that part. But that's a good thing with Brian. He comes from, here from Meriwether County, been here a day and a half and already is jumping on a full board to strategically hit the roads in Meriwether County that needs it. I've talked to him about some concerns from citizens. He's looked at those roads. He's coming up with plans to get those back in the condition where they need to be. A lot of them are muddy and not in the best conditions, but he's working to get there. And just being here, almost 2 full days speaks high volume in my opinion. I mean, like I said, he's invested in this county, he lives in this county. So, besides the roads, I think with Brian on board, we're gonna hit the roads, we'll get the roads where they need to be. Most of the concerned citizens on that'll be addressed in 2025, so improvements on that. Courthouse, I've got part of the assessment, I haven't got the full assessment yet. He's given to me in little pieces.
So what's, and this is very frustrating, just to be honest. So all of this time that we've been talking and doing, and we went out and hired to say specifically, tell us everything is wrong. And it's been 3 months at least,
'Cause I was supposed to have a report.
and we got partial reports. We don't have a full report. When are we gonna get information? And I know it's not you, I don't need.
He told me he's waiting on his architect to finish up the
But I
last
don't think, how
scope.
long have they been, when did they start assessing the courthouse?
At least February. So it's been going on 2 months. I was supposed to have a report by the 14th, and I talked to Chris Thursday. He was hoping to have everything to me on the weekend. I got the scope. I got 3 of them, but not the full entire assessment. Right now, it looks like it's the dome. The clock dome tower is not flushed like it's supposed to be. That needs to be redone. And then the roof is going to have some kind of covering, TPO or copper covering over it, is what they're suggesting. But I haven't got the rest of it. As far as I got is just the roof so far. As soon as I get that, I'll pass it on to the commissioners and have him come and give his recommendation or give me a synopsis of his recommendation of what needs to be done at the courthouse, help us write the RFP for the courthouse.
Because we set aside some money for this,
Yes.
but we don't know that it's not gonna be excessively higher than what we set aside. And we need to get, they need to get rolling because we got other plans we need to do.
Yes.
And I don't wanna overcommit on something else and then that comes in and then we can't do it because it's more than what we anticipated.
And that's another thing we need to talk about with, need all 5 members here, probably for that one. Do we want to do, because SPLOST renewal is coming up, we have to have all the cities sign off. Do we want to do a tier 1 project and allocate money for the courthouse renovation
Up front.
up front? Because we can do a tier 1 project. We just have to come up with a dollar amount. And we had to have it to Patty by June, I believe. So I'm with you. We need this in a hurry because we need to get RFPs out so we know what it's going to cost us before we put it on the ballot. Because if we need $3 million and we get all the cities to sign off as a tier 1 project, we can go and have the courthouse funds allocated, ready to go. With no hold up. As soon as it passes.
We need to put some pressure on them because I mean, you got a week from today is April, right? And then, so 60 days to get RFPs and it's June.
And not to mention, we have to have a joint meeting with the cities,
Yes.
and we have to do all of that for the ballot, for the referendum and the IGAs.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's frustrating. We gotta get some urgency going. I know it's not you, but
I'll reach out to Chris and I'll put some urgency on him and tell him we need this quickly as possible to get it done. Because he's also assessing a couple of roads for the LMIG. And Brian told me that he's capable of doing that one, so we don't have to hire out for assessing roads. He's fully capable of assessing, grading the roads and telling us what needs to be done.
now, let me ask a question with that, and that may be meddling too much, but it's just a concern. So you doing that, how much time away from your primary role of guiding and directing public works would that take you away from there? Do we need?
It wouldn't, once the training is taken, I would need to be there, of course, on the ground at first. But with people that I'm discussing bringing, I have total confidence in their abilities to lead, yes.
No, I don't mean just the paving. I mean the entire management of public works. So I'd hate to hire a manager over a department.
Sure.
And then we start sending them because of pockets of expertise into different areas that now you don't have the time to manage the entire department. That's what I'm concerned with.
So it would all get done. You're going to have to give me some time, of course. But the road evaluations, that kind of stuff, as I'm riding from job to job to job to job, once I compile that book that has all the county roads, as I'm riding, I'm going to be evaluating these roads. So I'm not going to go out and just spend day after day after day after day evaluating roads. It might take a year or year and a half to go down every single road in this county, but eventually it will get done. And in the wintertime, for instance, the guys that we're talking about bringing in, their expertise levels would lend availability when we can't pay due to seasonal conditions for them to also be out assessing roads. And
Okay. No, that's okay.
Yeah, and when they get out assessing roads, you'll have one guy go this way and one guy go that way. I hope you don't have 3 guys riding in the same truck to assess it.
No. We don't. We try to steer away from that kind of activities. Or we will.
The other thing, Commissioner, is we're still waiting on internet for Building A. Because I'm not going to refer to the old building, it's Building A now. Once the internet's installed, I think they're waiting on 1 or 2 more pieces of equipment to get here. For some reason, they're behind. We anticipated having a month ago, but Building A still does not have internet. That's why no one has moved yet. It's been sanitized, it's been cleaned, everything's ready to go. As soon as the internet's turned on, probate will be the first office to go. They're still having water issues. They're the main ones that have an intrusion of the water when it rains, so they'll go first. Probably have the DA go next, so they got security up there. And then we'll move with the tax commissioner, or building and zoning, and then we'll go tax commissioner, tax assessor, and then magistrate, and then Kai is looking to go towards where the tax commissioner is at now, so she can continue having access to our records across the street. But we've been checking with Charter every week, and they are telling us it'll be next week. So I done told Matt to put some pressure on Charter. We need internet in that building ASAP. We were told a month ago we would have it. It's been on our show for a month now. It's still no internet. I don't know if any department has anything to say.
We're talking about security, my clerks need security, and that building would offer security for them. Right now, that's just, reach across the desk, and up there, they would be behind glass.
They handle a lot of cash.
Yes.
And my department has cash as well, so it would actually secure my department.
Oh, it needs to quiet.
And Commissioner Thurgood, this is Brian Griffin, our Public Works Director.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I was trying to figure out who was questioning stuff in the middle of a work session, so nice to meet you.
I'm sorry.
Do the board, commissioners have anything they would like to see in 2025 besides the roads, buildings?
We
Courthouse.
covered paved roads, his ability to possibly,
Do in-house
internal
paving?
paving, and then dirt roads, and then the courthouse project.
Okay.
And that's where we were. He was updating us on next door, we don't move in there.
So do we have a layout of where everybody's gonna be?
A rough draft, I gotta get with the Board of Assessors, make sure they're fine with the way I got there laid out for the tax assessors. But I've already been out there with Tax Commissioner Cruz, we looked at it. Still gotta put the final layout where it goes, but as soon as the internet, like I said, we're hoping to get it this week. We've been told next week, on the equipment. It's been delayed getting the equipment into the building. We did see some action last Friday for about half a day, and they took off, so I think they're still waiting on a few pieces of equipment. And we're hoping that once we plug in the port 75, it reads on the server 75, and we're good to go. We don't have to trace down what number is which number. So it's already been sanitized, cleaned. I had that done, so the building's ready to be moved in. All the furniture, any fixture left behind, I purchased from state surplus. So we own all the leftover desks that are in very good condition, filing cabinet, shelving. Got it off for like $1,000. A very nice looking desk for $35, $40. So once that goes, we're moving quickly. And Commissioner Thurgood, you came in at the end, we were discussing SPOS. It's up for renewal, and we need to get all 5 members to see if we want to do a tier 1 project for SPOS for the courthouse renovations. Once we put some pressure on EMC to get us the RFP, so we get RFP out, see what it's going to cost. And if we want to do a tier 1 project, we got to get all the cities on board and sign off on it.
Did we explain how the tier 1 works? Just, everybody may know, but it is totally different than a regular SPOS. Okay.
Yeah.
Money comes off the top.
Comes off top. It's
But from the
basically a
cities,
GO bond.
and the county, it
Yes.
comes off the top.
So the commission on that, I've been involved in them, and like Commissioner Thurgood said, it comes off the top. So if it's $12 million, if we take 2, we'll take out a GO bond at a percentage, so much, 4 or 5 months of your payments go to that GO bond, and then you'll get some money for the rest of the year. So you don't lose out on all your funding. You just won't see 5 or 6 months of it because it'll pay the GO bond first.
Okay.
And once that's paid off, you'll get your full allocations. It qualifies as a tier 1 project, so as long as all 8 cities, because Pine Mountain's got a sliver in the county, sign off on it, we can use those funds as a tier 1 project if the commissioners choose to do so.
I think we had to have 3 of the
Yeah, the
cities.
majority
Yeah,
of it.
the one with the 50%.
Yeah.
51%.
So there's a book about that thick, and there's a new finance director, Jamie Tarleton. There's a book that thick. Y'all probably seen it, green, I believe, or blue. It's in our office that goes through the whole geo bond process. So we have a guideline. Staff will be working on that probably the 1st of April because we got to get it done within 2 months. Get all the meetings together and everything. And then the tier 1 project will be a decision and be made at a later date. Because we have to lay the groundwork and get everything written up first.
Yeah, Patty, we'll have to have a joint meeting, I was telling them, with the cities, like we did before.
And just update you on election building, they're looking at being completed next week, about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. So that contractor has been superb on everything. It looks like he's been there 6 months and only been there 3 weeks. So he's been knocking it out really quickly. Hasn't done anything that we did. The only change order came in was the roof that we talked about during the budget or the allocation of the funds. No other change orders were turned in. Everything looks like it's going to be on budget for it.
She's planning on moving the week of the 7th.
Yeah. So that's 11 days ahead of her projected time frame.
That's good.
And then we got
What about the jail?
the jail. The plumbing is completed. The locks have been completed. They've came down and I believe Leo told me they've replaced the locks. Meg, tell me if you know if they came down and replaced the locks that day.
They said that they were coming either last Friday or yesterday, but I haven't heard from anybody.
Bill was here yesterday, and I think he said they replaced all the locks that had issues. So all the locks should be done. They've been paid in full. Bates, mechanical, all the plumbing. I got their invoice on my desk. They're done.
So are those locks working with the
They're working. They should be working
system?
now.
Okay.
There was I'll tell you about. There's a wiring issue that they'll get to in May.
Okay.
They have to get an electrician out here to figure out too much is going on one circuit, so they're going to backtrace it. And I think he said May is when they can get an electrician out here to work on that. But they went through with the staff and showed them the keys and how to securely lock everything. To my knowledge, everything has been replaced. I'll double check with the Chief Hadley tomorrow to make sure everything is to their standards and working like it's supposed to be. The kitchen part, we have run into issues on getting contractors. We got Bates looking at it. He just texted me back now and just said they're interested in it, but they need to come down and do one more thing so they can look at it. We have a gentleman out of Thomaston. He knows he can do it, but he's about 2 weeks out because he's working at a hospital now, finishing up that. We've had contractors back out because there's electrical running under there. They don't want to cut the concrete with electrical, so they're afraid they're going to hit it. When we assure them we can kill the power. We have contractors who said they don't want to come to it because it's the jail. It's a jail. I mean, that's what the reason they gave us, which I don't see as the kitchen area. But
Tell them
it
they
is,
have security the whole time?
we have. So we are working to get someone in that one. We have worked with, talked with Chief Hadley about orchestrating to move cooking staff to the building A of Pathways to cook meals out of there for the inmates and bring them back to the jail. We just have to logistically make all that work. And once we get someone in there, say it's going to be shut down for 5 days, the jail can accommodate accordingly. So we are diligent work on that. It is actually gray water. It's not sewage net, but it still poses a health hazard. We need to get it done, but we did find out it's gray water coming in. It's not actually sewage, which is good in a sense, but not great. It still is a health condition that needs to be taken care of. We're diligent working to get someone down here to fix that. It's just get them off. We can pull them off a job site, but you pull them off, it's going to cost you. So it's, the Chief Hadley and the sheriff are working with us, and they understand that we are progressing to make that. We just got to get a vendor lined up, and we're going to come do it.
I think if Bates can do it, I'd probably just try to get Bates.
Yeah, he said I asked him, was he interested in it, and he just replied back, they are. They just got to come down and get a couple other vendors to price it out. Because he was supposed to bring the scope so we can look at it and see what all it needs to be replaced. Because while he's down there, I mean, if there's other metal piping, he might as well go ahead and give us a quote on all of it and just fix it all at once. Because if one cast iron's rotted away, it won't be long before the other one rots away. So if there's more, according to Lee, there's, I don't know nothing about plumbing, feeder pipes running off of there, so he's like, I will replace all that while I'm under there.
Well, is that, at one time you talked about putting a line in there.
That, we need to discuss that at, probably issue an RFP to put a liner on all the sewage pipes because they're cast iron as well, and before they start deteriorating. Lee said one building in the county's had it done before. They went in and lined the pipe. It's about a 3/8 epoxy once it sets. It's almost putting a PVC pipe inside of a metal pipe. So it's almost a brand new pipe inside of the metal. We just gotta bid it out and see what it comes in at.
I think this was past that point, though, wasn't it?
This
To
was,
do the line.
this project was, because the
Now,
trap was shattered.
Sometimes the pipe can be too far gone and you can't line
Yeah,
it.
that's the situation with the kitchen. The
Yeah.
guy looked at it, he's like, I can attempt to do one, but you're looking at 3 days of shutting down, and I can't guarantee it's gonna hold. So I don't feel comfortable spending taxpayers' money on something that they can't guarantee me it's gonna hold. It busts after we spend $10,000, and then we gotta pay another 20. Being steward as a taxpayer's money, I can't do that.
Yeah, maybe we need to look at the rest of the jail and see if it's in shape for lining. If it is, we might need to go ahead and line it where we won't.
That's where our RP will
problem
come
down
in.
the road.
We plan on putting an RP out for that, for those other pipes in the jail, any cast iron. Have someone come in and just give us a quote on it.
You
Probably
could,
have someone give us a quote and then put an RFP out after we see what.
you
quotes
could
come in.
do, if it's possible to do the lining, or, if it's past that, but you could put it out for both options.
Yeah, liner are replacing with the grade 80, I think Lee says the highest grade PVC pipe out there that makes it almost like a slip and slide instead of blankets get hung on a piece of metal that's deteriorating. We know that's a big concern. It's buildings. Commissioner Thurgood has mentioned that before, buildings. We have the tax building. It's got pipes that need to be replaced. We got issues with the soffit outside that needs to be replaced.
Well, that's the issue. When you were bringing up that Kai wanted to move her office over where Deanne is, if we have these issues in the building, is it best just to move everybody to one location to get the situation taken care of prior to moving somebody in and then having a major issue and having to evacuate in a rapid?
That's where it comes with the assessment from the courthouse. As soon as we know what the full extent of the assessment is, if they can use part of the courthouse while they're doing other things. And Kai would like to be as close to the records as she can be because of her daily interaction with people. Instead of having to move everything up there and then come back. Like I told the rest of the commissioners, Commissioner Thurgood, the assessments came back in pieces. I have up to the roof, but I haven't had the rest of the building come back in. I'll reach out to EMC to get the rest of the assessment done because if he's got part of it, he should have the other half. It's come down to the clock tower not being flashed correctly into the roof, and then the roof does need a overlay, either copper, they make a copper overlay, or you can do a TPO, is what I'm reading so far, but copper's gonna be expensive, but it still gives you that copper finish, and I would hate to cover up that copper of the courthouse. But when we get them to write the RP, we'll do one with a copper finish and one with a TPO finish to see what the cost difference would be. So we don't lose that copper finish if we can help it.
Well, it doesn't really look like a patina anymore. It really looks black instead of the green
Yeah.
patina like you should have for the copper.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and we got a photo shoot opportunity they want to do with the courthouse. I think that's in May. We don't project any construction going on there at the time. We're still being an RP awarding the bid. They'll just need to shut down one section of that, and I can get with the sheriff and fire and make sure we have that shut down. They just need a couple of hours to do a couple of shoots of the Meriwether courthouse. It's, I forget what the company that she's with.
Her name's Charlotte.
Exterior or interior or both?
Exterior.
Oh, we may not need anything then, but Chuck would have to give that okay.
With, she's with some company. Thursday, May 29th. At Shell Rotella Oil Spring Rigs calendar, Super Rigs calendar. So Shell Rotella Oil Super Rigs calendar. And they would love to have Meriwether Courthouse in the calendar as one of the months. So I told her I would, it's actually coming off LaGrange Highway. And to the right, to the current election building now is where they would need it barricaded off. But I'll get with the sheriff and make sure they're fine with it. They just need the exterior shot.
If they need the roads blocked off, it may be the city.
DOT too. That's the state highway
Yeah,
coming
but it
in.
may be the city that has to provide that blockade.
I'll reach out to her and I'll tell her this, since it's within the city limits, that she needs to get with Greenville also. But I think it's really interesting. They want to shoot the Meriwether Courthouse to be featured in their magazine or in their calendar as one of the 12 sites in Georgia. So I think anything, building A of election of pathways or the old pathways, Woodbury Highway. Fire has been using that as a drill, training course center, just because that's got enough room. Fire chief would like to move out of the Board of Education where he's currently got all his training at and try to utilize building A. I told him I don't know, I have to get with the board and see, because I don't know what we have envisioned for building A and building in the back, which I think we named C. But I just hate to see buildings not being occupied and there's just gonna be,
Are we currently paying the school board anything for the lease of that?
only with the UGA extension, I believe.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on the fire side.
I don't
It's
think that we-
$425 a month for,
I do carry a
UGA.
certificate of insurance, so.
but he did express that, he's used that the past 2 times for his training, because it can simulate more than what he can do at the school. And I told him, if he didn't come to this meeting, it'd be at least the next one to express his ideas to the board to see if it's possible that maybe we want to go that route, that we can use those 2 buildings for something instead of just let them go to waste and depreciate in value.
Is building C in good shape now, or is it gonna need renovations for that?
It may need some slight renovations. It's still laid out like a juvenile detention center. It's got the bedding in there, still got the security glass. It will need to be probably gutted a little bit on the side, but we can have our maintenance guys do it during our off times when we can't do anything else, just like here and there type deal.
When the rest of this board came on, Jennifer, the other 3, we all did a tour out there to look at it, and that building C looked okay. You're talking about the one in the very back? And then the sheriff's office had talked about maybe doing something with it, so we went back out, and at that time, when you start down the hallway from the main level, going to the basement area, the wall inside of the stairwell had cracks in it. It looked like it had some type of roof leakage at that point, but we did not see that in the initial visit.
We'll run back and check it again just to make sure. I'll put it on my list to visit.
Oh, while we're talking about leakage, have we got word on when we're gonna be able to fix the front of that building? Cause I saw that the siding was messed up. Do we
It's
know
already,
when
it's
that's?
in. Lee has been trying to help elections meet their deadline. He's done at elections and he should have, I'll get with him, but he should be finishing that up this week.
Okay, I just wanna catch it before it gets water damage inside, and then we have a
Yes.
whole nother problem that,
He couldn't find that color, so he ordered a new color, but he's supposed to replace that whole siding right there at the main entrance. And I'll get with him this week and make sure it gets done, because to my knowledge, everything's
I
in.
know it's supposed to rain again Monday, so we gotta get cracking.
Yeah, I'll make sure he gets that this week if he's got everything in. Cause like I said, he ordered it and I think he has picked it up, but he was focusing on elections to try to help him meet that April 18th deadline. And we've already gave notice to, Mr. Han about the building we're renting downtown. So that building, we won't be paying that expense.
They already have it listed on Facebook.
Oh, they did?
They do.
So I know he got it.
Like a
by
couple
mail,
of
so-
days after the meeting, I saw it listed.
Well, we sent it certified, and I guarantee it'll be the next day, but we haven't got the little green card back saying it was delivered, or I haven't seen it yet if we have. Recreation director starts next week. Baseball season will kick off this Friday.
Softball started last night for the older girls.
They got about 200 kids, so rec is grown, quadruple since last year, I think Randy said, with the number of kids.
I'm gonna tell you, I went to the game last night. It was Meriwether against Pike County. And while I was there, I walked in the gym because there's a lot of kids that are practicing for travel basketball. And he's got an impressive program running with the girls out there, little kids practicing on the field. I mean, those parents didn't mind that it was wet and gross. And then a gym full of kids keeping them off the streets and they're playing basketball and running laps and very good manners. I mean, great kids in there.
Me and Randy have talked about that, and we've discussed keeping the gym open later if we need to, just to keep the kids off of doing mischief things. Because if they're not doing something productive, they're going to do something that's going to get them in trouble.
Well, he introduced me to one young man, and he's 18. He's been playing rec basketball and stuff in Meriwether County for 14 years. He said he started when he was 4. And I mean, awesome kid. Seemed like, from what I met him for a few minutes last night, but I said, that's what we need. Keep him off the streets. Keep them under adult supervision. They're great.
So we got good things looking forward to in 2025, the remainder of the year. Like I said, we're fully staffed departmental-wise, department heads. We still have vacancies in certain areas that we're trying to fill. Budget will be coming up. We'll start that probably in May, a little bit earlier, just so we can bring everybody, see what needs they want, what we want to bring back to the board. Like to try to get a capital lease program in place that we buy so many vehicles every year, and whoever needs them, that's who gets the vehicle, and not necessarily designate them to a certain department. But SPLOST will pay for vehicles under certain departments, but countywide, we need to be able to get 4 or 5 vehicles a year if we can, and replace some of these older vehicles that are, getting up there in age and mileage, that we're spending way more costs on maintaining them instead of we just bite the bullet and buy a new one. Or a fairly used one with some.
What
decent mileage on
department's
it.
that is?
I know Public Works has a few. The sheriff, I'm pretty sure, has a few because they run the whole entire county. I know one time we talked about replacing the sheriff vehicles and passing the sheriff vehicles down to the other departments. They maintain all their vehicles very well. I think that's a good idea for us to do. If we looked at doing something that way, replacing the sheriff's fleet and passing those vehicles down. But I do know we do need some, like Lee's maintenance truck. We probably need to upgrade that one to a newer vehicle. It's probably on its last leg on that one because it's been used so much. And those are specialty type trucks. Ambulances are another one that we'll have to either remount or buy another one because we put,
Well,
100,000,
have they got
200,000.
the other body mounted yet?
I got to check on that one. We're expecting to have it end of the month. So I'll check with Custom Body and see where they're at on that one. Because I had on my notes March. I think it's still in here. March was the expected completion date. So I'll touch base with them and see how far we're out on that one. The lift may have caused a little delay, an extra week or 2 on getting that in there. But we should be taking delivery of that one soon. That'll put another ambulance in the fleet. I know Danny's looking at, he should be bringing to the board in April what he wants to do with the replacement value of the fire truck that overturned. He's looking at pumper trucks, agricultural pumper type trucks, and we can probably get 2 for the $370,000. Tanker trucks. 'Cause I don't know much about fire. But these are the agricultural type that he believes he can get 2, maybe 3. If we throw in a little bit of money, maybe 3 out of the $380,000 we got in insurance to go that route. We're still looking at grants. We had a grant that was sent over to Allison for radios and 911 equipment.
It's not technically a grant. Every year, Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock do an appropriations, and you can apply for certain things through those appropriations. I did reach out to a neighboring county, and they were able to send me, because I didn't get it for some reason, but Warnock's office has opened up. It's too late to do anything with Senator Ossoff's, but Warnock's, I think we have until April the 4th to try to, get some appropriations or funds for looking at maybe like a radio system countywide, something like that.
Thought we pretty much have that.
We do, but unfortunately, maybe an upgrade, but unfortunately can't do it on buildings because I researched that. It has to be a federal building before they will appropriate any
Yeah, I
money.
looked at a few of them grants too. It's like if your county was under 20,000, you got 35%. if it was,
Oh,
it was from 15 to 20. If it was like 5 to 10,000 population, you got 75%. So the bit up to 20,000, but if you had a real rural county, you got more help than if you had 20,000 people. That's one thing about the grants. I think you gotta be careful about what grants you apply for. You don't wanna apply for
Right.
grants that, stuff you don't need, because then you wind up, you only get 30% and you wind up spending 70%.
Right.
But it's good to apply for every grant that you can get, is if you want to select that grant once you see the award and the details of that grant, what your match is going to be. You know, if you got to put in 30%, is that grant really worth going after if you got to put in 30%? Still trying to search and find a grant writer. Most grant writers are paid through the grant. We may have to, shell out like a retainer fee or something to keep them on staff, but they'll get paid mainly through the grant. The ones I'm running into, they do CHIP and CDBG. I need someone that can do facilities.
Theron had the name of someone that used to do them for Coweta County, and we had reached out to her at one time. It's a female that works for this firm, and that's all they do, and they only take on the responsibility for those grants if they feel that we can get them.
Deborah.
Yep, that's it.
What was the?
Deborah Allen Consult. It's Allen Consulting.
That's the she does CDBG and CHIP.
Okay.
I reached out to her. There's one Byron had sent me. I haven't been able to reach out to her. I'm still trying to contact her. She was interested at one point of moving to Meriwether County and writing grants for the county, and she still may be willing to write grants for the county because she'll get paid mainly through the grant. So I'm gonna reach out to her, and there's grant writers out there. You just have to find them. I'm not part of a grant serve list through ACCG, but I can reach out to ACCG, see if they can put something out on a listserv for grant writers and see if we can get anything off of that one.
It's not hard to write the grant necessarily, it's the managing after the
Right.
grant's written.
Yeah. I mean, we can write them all day long. It's when you get to the progress reports, the updates, the, $1 million grant is gonna require a lot more work than a $100,000 grant.
Well, when we went to, Atlanta talked to Warnock's secretary, she said if you had any questions about writing one or what needed to, what you needed to say and all that, reach out to her and she would help any way she could.
And we do have that resource through Three Rivers as well. We can reach out to them for grants. They'll guide us in the right direction. I mean, they're not going to fully write it for you, but they'll look at them and score them. We also have Cassandra, who has written grants. They can look at them as well. I know she's written certain kind of grants, but facilities is one we really need for us, for this community. We can get some facility grants, even a 20% match, 30% match, depending on how much money we get, will be worth it in the overall, especially with the buildings that we have. I think I said, once we get internet at A and we get the courthouse renovated and the courthouse back moved, it'd be up to the board, but my plan would be to move this building to building A and let that be our government center. That way we have most of our offices right there in building A that can serve the public in
What would be the
different
plan for
capacities.
this?
For this one, it would be at the discretion of the board. The sheriff, I know the annex on it is falling apart. He's in desperate need of a building. I just don't know what building would be right for the sheriff.
So are you considering putting like a government complex up there and keeping us up there, or move us up there and move us back?
I would like to see everybody's up at building A, but when it comes down to it, the commissioners have the final say on where everybody goes. But my vision would be, it's a 14,000 square foot building. We turn that into a government complex that can serve the citizens in multiple capacities. We'll probably do some reconfiguring later to traffic flow, but we can work out the logistics on that.
Here's the issue with Greenville being the county seat, and we have so many county buildings in that area. If we pull everybody out of the city itself in those buildings, it is going to stop a flow to another city that we have of people coming in. That's how I feel about it. So I do think we need to renovate the buildings we have as much as possible to establish areas, but I do think that would probably, to me, be a temporary for most part of most departments and offices that we have in the county.
So we temporarily move, for example, the tax building up there and then come back and renovate the tax building after the court and get it configured the way it should be, at least have the tax commissioner, tax assessor, and maybe keep building and zoning up here. That way they're not in the middle of the building. That'd be one.
It's always been a very strange building having 3 offices in one area.
It's not conducive the way it is.
No, it's not.
Whatsoever, for any department. It's not safe, I mean, even now.
And we've had an engineer that came down and looked at the courthouse, looked at that building, at the tax building, and he looked up there and he's like, you can basically reconfigure this thing any way you want. So you'll have to, cover some low-bearing walls, but he's like, you don't have to keep the same layout. You can come in and basically remodel the whole thing. It's just at what cost.
A cinder block building?
Well, from what he looked at it, it can be done. This was the architect looking at it.
We have bathrooms that have no use.
Yes, that's
And it's because they're so old and the pipes are rotted or they're in cement. And those walls, I mean, it's a chopped up little health department. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of renovations, but it's gonna take a couple, 3 years to renovate.
That's why we're trying to put the screws on Charter to get internet up there so we can get them out of that building. Lee's asked me about repairing, doing the water. I told him, Lee, and I thought a month ago they'd all be gone. So why spend $30,000, $40,000 on a piping system if we're gonna move everybody out there to this building temporarily until we can assess everything and see what it's actually gonna cost us. It may be cheaper to level the building and rebuild. I mean, we don't know until we put bids out what it's gonna cost to renovate the way we want it. What's it gonna cost to tear it down completely and rebuild a new one? You have to look at those costs on both ways.
Oh, yeah.
I think the board knows I'm gonna do my due diligence and whatever is the most cost-effective way of taxpayers' money, I'm gonna present it to the board. If it's, it's not a historical building, but I hate to see it demolished, but that's what it takes to get us where we need to be. Then we demolish it and build a brand new building. If it comes out cheaper, it serves our citizens better.
And I think that's the whole plan, is to get everybody moved out of the older buildings that need definite, not just renovations, but some basics in those, and to get everybody to where they function properly on a daily basis so we can figure everything else out.
Yes. And we won't know how to address every building until people are out of that building where we can have people come in and assess. So I've asked Matt weekly where we're at with Charter, and they said, crossing my fingers they won't have the internet turn on this week. So once it's on, we're ready to start moving, and then we can start assessing buildings after the courthouse is put out for RFP. Then staff is gonna hit it hard with RFPs, assessments, as soon as we get SPLOST going. I mean, it's a lot going on, but staff is dedicated to do what we need to do in 2025, 2026 to get the county and be good stewards of the taxpayers' money and spend it wisely. Because like I said, I don't see us spending $30,000 and having to tear it down and just waste $30,000 that can be spent somewhere else. It's just not in my nature to do.
Yeah, there is an email. He's extended his Ossoff's office till April the 11th. So we do have a little more time.
We'll put in for both, and hopefully we can get something from both of them tomorrow, one or the other. So we'll work on that.
For the programmatic request.
Is there anything else?
So I'm trying to think if touch courthouse, defects, is there anything that the commissioners would like to see staff accomplish or work towards in 25 size buildings and roads? Recruiting staff.
I think we got a plate full.
We do.
If we gotta get all this done, if we get all this done in 2025, we'll be doing good.
Well, I do think one of the, not easiest, but maybe one of the more logical things to do would be I've said it before, but our budget increases every year, and we get 1 to 1.2 million, it seems, almost increase every year. We need to try to, my personal opinion is we need to try to lock the budget at last year's budget and utilize everything, continue doing roads as we can, and take the additional money, maybe do a lock period for 3 to 5 years, giving you that additional money each year to renovate all these buildings if we can get grants for them. And it's probably going to be that we can, especially with the courthouse. It doesn't fit under the historical level in order to be able to get certain grants for it. But if we can lock that budget for 3 to 5 years, it will continue to accumulate. So if we get 1.2 this year and we get 1.2 above that next year, then that's 1.2 here, 2.4 there. So we're really looking at it growing every year as to what we get over that 3 to 5 year period, renovate everything that we need in that 3 to 5 year period. When that lock comes off of that budget, then we have a really large amount that could be utilized for roads at one time for what we had been doing. And I think it's very doable to lock a budget in to like last year's amount.
It is, Commissioner Thurgood. I can account for it where it balances
Right.
per DCA standards.
Right.
So we can, like you said, if 1.2 million, we lock in that amount, just throwing out a figure, maybe 2
Right.
million, but say 1.2 million. If we spend 400,000, we're at 800,000. There's a way to account for it by DCA standards to carry it over to the next year.
Right.
And then we just budget, we'll move that 800,000 to a restricted fund and then budget 1.2 again the next year or 1.4.
That kind of
Essentially
money,
gives
you should be
2.2.
able to do a building to several buildings renovation in a yearly basis.
And we can, it's restricted funds is what it's referred to for other commissioners. It's basically saying we're restricting $1 million for buildings. And it's legal by auditors, it's legal by DCA standards. You can restrict it to $1 million for roads, $1 million for buildings, $500,000 for cars, vehicle
Capital
replacement.
projects.
Yeah, you just got to list what capital project you want to spend on. You got to be specific. You can't just say capital projects. You got to actually list it
Right.
out. So that's where
We create our own internal SPLOST.
yes,
So-
basically. So I would like to do the same thing with buildings and do the same thing with automotive. Find out 5, 6, 7 vehicles, allocate that as a non-spendable restricted fund, only 4 vehicles that can be done in. For the budget balances with 1.5 million for building, 500,000 for vehicles. We lock that in and we can buy $500,000 worth of vehicles.
I just think
how
we'll
much
start
we
to
can.
see a quicker turnaround
We
in a
will.
lot of these projects that we have if we do something like that.
We most certainly will. I can tell you that because the audit is almost wrapped up and based off this year, it looks like we're gonna have a surplus in that same neighborhood, 1.5 million that we've been carrying for at least the last 2 years I've been here.
And this way it won't affect our SPLOST and our T-SPLOST, but mostly our SPLOST money coming in. That still remains. We can use it for certain things and not have to utilize it for what we're paying ourselves to do.
And it keeps us from having to borrow money from the bank and pay the interest rates. I mean, if we have it on hand, y'all know that about me from the finance aspect. I'd rather pay for it in cash instead of taking out a loan and pay interest on it. That's the same thing with, Brian Griffin's idea about the patching. We can use investment funds money to pay for that. If T-SPLOST can't cover it, if I run that by the auditors, but we're making roughly $40,000 a month now off of what's in the investment pool. So, you're looking at a $200,000 payment a year for in-house patching, 5-6 months of investment income goes towards that. The other 5-6 months we put back for buildings renovations. To just make good use of that money, because I think last year we brought in $350,000 by having that money invested. So it's there. I mean, if the feds have froze the rate at 4 or whatever currently it is, and we're earning 4 point something percent, there's roughly $12 million in there. Once we get the LRA money, we'll put that million in there. I mean, you're looking at $13-14 million gaining some interest off of before we have to pull it back when we got to spend it. And Jamie, our new finance director, I'll show everything that I've done and the way I've invested the county's money strategically to earn the most that we can off of it. Keep enough in the bank to pay our bills, pay our employees, and use that money in the investment pool and draw down when you need to draw down, but keep it in as long as possible to gain as much interest as we can. That has been whoever started that investment pool, that was a very good thing that they did for the county.
Was that you?
Wasn't me. It-
Well, I like
It was
you.
prior to me, 'cause I
Lock the
had-
budget in, but I think we might could go a step further and cut the budget by 10%.
When I say lock the budget, like we have to be balanced every year.
Yeah.
So if we take in 20.2 million
Yeah.
in tax revenue, that goes fully into the budget, doesn't go anywhere else but into the budget. And we have to have that balanced by divvying it out wherever. So when I'm saying that, if we have 18.2 million that came in last year, 19.2 million this year, we need to lock it at the 18.2 and just not go over that. Anything additional over that 18.2 for this year goes to renovate buildings, et cetera, et cetera. And as long as we balance that amount, say if we have 1.2 and we use 1.1 million and we have that $100,000 left over, we can put it back into the budget as long as it is utilized somewhere, and then you have a balanced budget. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes.
But I mean, basically what you said is like 18 point, say $20 million budget to 24. Well, then when it comes to 25, 20 million again.
Yeah.
Is basically what you're saying.
What you want to do, Commissioner, is you want to lock it in at your expenditures.
Right.
So if it's a $20 million budget and we expense
So in other words,
18.5,
basically what you're saying is no department raises their budget for 25. They keep it at 24 level.
Well, we always have a surplus at the end of the
Right.
term. There is some money leftovers. It comes back from offices, departments, things like that. One year we had
If they don't use
500,000 come back, right? So if we say that the budget last year was 18.2, what we took in, then we leave it at that this year and we figure out how to pay all the employees, how to do the standard road work that we're doing, the contracts that we're doing, and the additional money that has to be paid out of that same amount every year for 3 to 5 years. Everything else over that is just money for us.
and we'll have to account for a 3 or 4% increase
Right.
based off inflation on goods and products, culverts, rock. I mean, we're going to have to raise it. It's not going to always be locked at 18.2. It could be 19 for the next year. But the idea is if we project $1 million and have savings, we say 1.2, 1.3 will go into this building renovation fund, and we lock it in there. If I'm right, Commissioner Thurgood, that's what you're trying to get to.
It is.
Something along those nature. And from my finance background, I can teach Jamie how to do that, and we can follow these state standards along with the auditors and make sure we abide by state regulations and laws. There was
Anybody have
something
anything else?
I was about to bring up, but I cannot remember now.
I don't.
What was it?
Y'all are done. Emmett can adjourn the meeting. And we'll have a little break before 6.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
Have a good break.
I lost my train of thought when I was going over what you call it.
Do we need executive session for the next meeting? If so, we can do it now.
I'm trying to think if we need legal there for it.
We might.
We do.
We need legal there.
Okay.
But we do have a need for it. Yes, we need legal.
Text you, tell him to hurry up.
Yeah, he won't be here till 6, I promise you.
Be more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty much all we have for staff wise. Like I said, the staff is, I tell you, Allison, when she puts the agenda together, she looks at it and she tells me there's not enough on the agenda. I'm like, Allison, that means the county's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's, commissioners aren't getting phone calls.
He got thrown me under the bus.
They're not giving me a phone call, not reaching out to departments. And the county is actually running like it's supposed to be running. There's nothing for the commissioners to vote on unless we bring something present to y'all. And it's just something she's never seen before, I guess, when there's only like 2 or 3 items, like we need to add some more things. I'm like, no, that means the county's doing what it's supposed to be doing. The departments are running like they're supposed to be running. I'm doing my job like I'm supposed to be doing what they hired me to do. So to me, that's a good thing when we don't have anything on the budget.
So no need for executive session currently?
Not before.
Go
No
ahead.
need for the executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?